is not a chance in hell the Bengals were making the Super Bowl in those crap Nickelodeon uniforms they had last year. Not a chance. With the big orange, no. And then the drop shadow on the numbers, not a chance. They needed to redesign their uniforms, and all these Rudy Poo candy ass teams out here that have outdated uniforms. I'm talking to you, Arizona Cardinals. If you want to get into the modern times, you better redesign the damn uniforms.
What's up, everybody, and welcome into Monkey Knife Fight's early preview show for the Super Bowl. Like, super early. We got a bye week this week, Pro Bowl weekend, but do we really? Joe, do you watch the Pro Bowl?
No. You kidding
me?
I watch enough football, man. No, I am not a Pro Bowl watcher. The only All-Star game I really watch is the MLB All-Star game.
Really? I like to tune the dunk contest in the NBA.
Oh, that's different. That's different. The skills competitions are all right. I just don't. No, I don't mess with the Pro Bowl. Yeah, I can't tell you the last time I might have caught a few plays here and there, but I can't tell you the last time I watched the Pro Bowl.
I just don't understand how defense works in the Pro Bowl. You know, yeah, play all out. You're supposed to play all out, but not play to the point where you're going to hurt somebody. How do you cover somebody playing defense in the Pro Bowl? Like, how does a defensive back do his job? I've always wondered about that, because you don't want to hit the guy, but you also don't want to be the guy that gets burned, as you say on ESPN, where you're the top 10. You don't want to be the Sports Center top 10.
I mean, does anybody remember anything from the Pro Bowl? Like, is there like a Pro Bowl, like the best plays, or, you know, sometimes you remember stuff from All-Star games, baseball All-Star games, and I guess the NBA All-Star game every now and again, like Michael Jordan's last one and Kobe's last one and all that stuff. But no, I mean, for as big as football is, it feels like, well, maybe, I don't know. It feels like proportionally, the people who watch football care the least about that All-Star game vis-a-vis the other sports.
I'd say that's very accurate. Like 100% nail on the head. People love the NHL All-Star game because you get that 3-on-3 action. The skills competition is fun. Yeah. NBA, the guys are dropping points left, right, and center, so it's entertaining. At least the one in Toronto was. I know that really rallied our city sports-wise. But as for the Pro Bowl, there's nothing about it that really leads into the season. The MLB, it used to be home field advantage for the World Series. Yeah,
which they don't do anymore. But like the thing about MLBs is I think that probably most closely facsimilates the actual game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's really hard to even if they change pitchers every inning, that's close to baseball nowadays anyway. So I think that one always just has you're not going to go out and it's not going to be like a 27-22 MLB All-Star game, you know? And I think part of the reason is the football. It's at the end of the season and everybody drops out of it. So, like, you know, the two quarterbacks here, Matthew Stafford and Joe Burrow, and all the talent on those teams, those guys aren't playing in the Pro Bowl, obviously. So you've got, you know, so much of that stuff. So, yeah, I do not give a flying crap about the Pro Bowl. Maybe that makes me a bad football expert, but I don't give a flying crap about it.
Yeah, well, you're not going to use any Pro Bowl analytics in any of your shows or any of your content. So I think it's a Sunday off, you know. But speaking of storylines that we were talking about, let's talk about Joe Burrow for a second. He could be the first quarterback to ever win the Heisman, the Natty, and the Super Bowl. It's never been done before. And Burrow and Chase have never lost a playoff game together, not in college or the NFL. Granted, small sample sizes. But, man, Burrow just looks like that guy. He looks like a Marvel superhero almost. He goes out and it's almost like, oh, yeah, he's going to win. By the end of the movie, Joe Burrow is going to win. He's like the Tony Stark of the NFL.
Like, there's certainly something to the notion that you have that a quarterback has it, right? I know, like, people laugh at this and analytic people laugh at it, but I feel like there is a non-quantifiable kind of competitiveness, drive, coolness under pressure that you just can't measure. And I'm not saying Joe Burrow is the only guy who has that, nor am I saying that that's all you need, right? Mm-hmm. Like, Tim Tebow had it, but he had nothing else. You gotta have stuff on top of it. And Tim Tebow had it, but nothing else. Joe Burrow's got, Joe Burrow's gifted, but Joe Burrow doesn't have the skill set, like the physical tools of like a Josh Allen, who also has it. But I'm just saying, like, there is something to Joe Burrow that just kind of elevates him above his tools. Like, and he's slippery. Like, he just kind of reminds me physically of Tony Romo, but he's got like this extra drive to him that's really impressive. And I've been impressed with Burrow. He's been fun to watch. It's a refreshing Super Bowl matchup, quite honestly, Connor, because I don't have a rooting interest in this game. My rooting interest is going to be with my bets and my monkey knife fight contest and my DFS contests and the prop pool that I run with my friends and on our site. But but I don't have a rooting interest as a fan. I'll be happy to see any outcome in this game. Joe Burrow has really endeared himself to America, I would say here. And which is why I think if you want the Bengals, let me just throw a little bit of betting advice out there. And this, I could be completely wrong, but I think if you want the Bengals, I would take them sooner rather than later because I think public money is going to come in on them. It's 4.5 right now. I think public money might get that down to like 3.5. It opened around 3. The sharp guys bet the Rams, and I think the Rams are going to win the game. But if you like the Bengals, and I think this is a little long, this number, feels like you should get them now.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you got their defensive end, Sam Hubbard, saying they're going to do it for Harambee, the Bengals are definitely coming.
I never got that meme, man.
You never got? Well, it was
I know what it is.
And then, like, the gorilla got wrongfully killed, Yeah,
I know
was
what
he trying
that
to
is,
protect the kid? Was he trying to use it as, like, a Morocco? And then,
I don't get why people use that ironically. I just feel bad for the gorilla.
Yeah, me too. But, if the game is in honor of the gorilla, it's kind of hard to stop the internet, and the internet has started on it. So if they weren't already America's go-to team, they definitely they've won the pathos and ethos of a lot of America with just like that. But if on the point of those monkey knife fight bets, Joe, if I'm looking at Joe Burrow, a couple Joes in the house, 250 yards, 348 yards against Tennessee and 244 against the Raiders on monkey knife fight right now, 275.5. My thing is he finds ways to win the game. I think it's going to be really hard for him to hit 275.5 against this Rams team. So I'm going to take the less. But although I'm taking the less, that does not change my mind that the Bengals are going to have a shot in this game.
Oh, no. And I wonder if you want to correlate here. Maybe there's a little bit of an under here because let's be honest, the biggest mismatch of the entire game is the Bengals offensive line versus the Rams defensive line. And I think that's why if you're making wagers, Aaron Donald might be more of a longer shot MVP because if he gets 3 sacks and he forces a fumble and it's kind of a 21-17 kind of game, it's possible that he ends up the MVP. I agree with you though. I'm not hitting the more for Joe Burrow here. I'm not doing it. It's too much for me.
Yeah, well, the numbers don't support it. And on the other side of the football, Matthew Stafford, 337 yards against the Niners, 366 against the Bucs, 73% completion percentage in the playoffs. And let me tell you this, Joe, I did a little digging. Over his last 8 starts, his completion percentage is 70.6. The only game the Rams lost in those 8 starts was week 18 to the 49ers, and he avenged that loss last week. Stafford's going to be tough to beat, and I like him for the more on this because Cincinnati's defense, they showed me one thing, they can get to the quarterback, but the pass game, I think it's open based on what I saw last week. And with Cooper Kupp, with OBJ playing the way OBJ did, it's just going to be tough for that Cincinnati defense or to really lock it down. So in the pass game. So I'm going to take the more on the Matthew Stafford, currently at 280.5 yards.
Yeah, I'll take the more on that as well. He's averaging 9.1 yards per attempt in the postseason. He's over 350 yards per game in his last 2 games, 280 plus in 13 of 20. Give me the more on Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, it's just between the quarterback matchup, I really have to favor Stafford's experience, but it almost seemed like he was a little nervous to start that game against the Niners. Obviously, it was the big comeback, right? They're down 17-7 in the fourth quarter. They storm back, they win the game. But if you want to talk about comebacks and momentum, Joe Burrow just is Joe Burr. Just guy's as cold as ice. He's Jack Frost out there. Down 18 points at Arrowhead, come back and win the game. If you had to give the X factor between these quarterbacks, who do you give it to going into this game? You got the red hot Matt Stafford, and you got Joe Burrow, who's just finding ways to win.
I think Stafford's got the better matchup, so I think I'm going to give it to Stafford here. And it's a good quarterback matchup, and if I'm the Bengals fans, I'm excited about my future. But you have to understand also, how hard is it to get to the Super Bowl? I mean, Matt Stafford, all of a sudden, he's the betting favorite to be the Super Bowl MVP, and that's not a surprise. The Rams are favored in the game, and the quarterback is going to be the betting favorite. But he went, his 13th season? He went 12 seasons without even winning a playoff game. Dan Marino made the Super Bowl in his second year and never made it back. So, appreciate this if you're the Bengals. Hope and just understand that it's something to enjoy. It's something to celebrate. But I just feel like Stafford's got the better matchup here. I think, as a whole, oh man, this is tough. As a whole, I'm trying to think whose receivers would I take as a whole?
Jamar Chase is jumping off the page. Cooper Kupp at the same time is the Triple Crown winner.
I think Higgins is just slightly better than Beckham.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that gives the edge to Cincinnati, but I think Cincinnati's defense versus the Rams receivers gives that edge to the Rams. I just agree. By the way, also, I'm a uniform guy.
Mm-hmm.
I consider myself more of a traditionalist with uniforms, but I am fully understanding that teams can redesign a classic uniform in the modern day, and it can look pretty good. For two teams who have a classic look, but updated for the modern times, this is a pretty good uniform matchup. There is not a chance in hell the Bengals were making the Super Bowl in those crap Nickelodeon uniforms they had last year. Not a chance. With the big orange. No. And then the drop shadow on the numbers. Not a chance. They needed to redesign their uniforms. And all these Rudy Poo candy ass teams out here that have outdated uniforms, I'm talking to you, Arizona Cardinals. If you want to get into the modern times, you better redesign the damn uniforms. That'll get you an instant boost. The Bengals have instant swag because they redesigned their uniforms.
I feel like the Jets are trying every 2 years to find that niche, and they just can't do it.
Yeah, I don't know. The Jets could go out there in Armani suits, and they're not going to go to the Super Bowl. So that's part of the problem for them. But now it's a good the Rams set I think is inconsistent, but they picked the best one of their set to wear in this game. Instead of that off-white bone color, they're going with the all-white with the gold pants and the blue helmet, which I think is a good look. So that's a little
more classic, a little more to the greatest show on turf,
Yeah, right. I believe that is the uniform they wore in the Super Bowl when they won as the greatest show on turf, of course. Mm-hmm. That unfortunately for them, they lost. Well, not unfortunately for them. Unfortunately for the city of St. Louis, they're no longer in St. Louis. Hey, you're a Chicago fan, so I know you're not too fond of St. Louis, but
no, yeah, it's not. No love lost. No love lost there. If we look at Cooper Kupp's line, though, we were talking about the receiving matchup there between the defenses and the wide receiving corps. 107.5 yards is a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot of yards. But I'm not betting against Cooper Kupp.
I'm not betting against in front of this. Seriously?
No, I'm going to take the more.
Come on. No, yeah, I'm going to take the more. I'm not standing in front of Cooper Kupp. It feels like Stafford, especially if the going gets tough, for better or worse, he's going to come out here and he's going to look at this and he's going to say, for sure, I'm throwing the ball to Cooper Kupp. No, I'm not. There is no way I am betting against Cooper Kupp here. Not a chance in hell.
It's just not smart.
By the way, he's got a shot to break Larry Fitzgerald's record for most receiving yards in a single postseason.
Yeah, well, he last week just, hey guys, get on my back. I'll get you there. Catch after catch consistently, a couple tutties. Man, it's just you can't bet against him. As for Cam Akers, though, 60.5. That's going to be a tough line to hit. I think it's right in that wheelhouse where, as of right now, I'm going to wait to see which direction it goes. If it goes up, I'm going to take the less. If it goes down a bit, I might take the more there, just because I think the Bengals are going to try to take away the run game. They have to. Stafford is going to have to pass the ball to be successful, and I think that is going to chew into Cam Akers' yards. So I'm going to take the less at 60.5, just because of a projected game script I'm seeing. And look, that Bengals D-line, they showed up against Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
and they got there.
I'll take the less on both the running backs in this game. By the way, Cooper Kupp is 160 yards behind Larry Fitzgerald, and that seems like a lot. It does. I understand that.
But you're saying there's a chance.
Well, I mean, he did it 2 weeks ago against Tampa. 160 yards that's a number he's reached twice this year, so there is a chance at that. I'm taking the less rushing yards on both Cam Akers and Joe Mixon in this game. One prop that I do like, though, don't know if there's an MKF on it. Maybe Joe Mixon's fantasy points line is a little low simply because of this rushing yards thing. I do like Joe Mixon over. There was like a 25.5 receiving yards out there. I kind of like that one. So maybe Joe Mixon goes more on the fantasy points, but less on the rushing yards.
Yeah, last week, right? The Bengals really tried to neutralize that KC pass rush with a lot of screens. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. We're getting word on the back end right now. 17.5 fantasy points on Monkey Night Fight. That's kind of right in that wheelhouse, isn't it?
He needs a touchdown. He needs a touchdown for that, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, remember, it's PPR, 1 point per reception.
Right.
So five catches out of the backfield is 5 points, not accounting the yards.
5 for 40 without a touchdown is 9 points. He'd need to get to 85 rushing yards to get to this number. Ooh, that's a tough one for me. Ask me next week when we get the finalized numbers.
All right, we'll hang on to that one. Here's one that I really like. Jamar Chase at 5.5 receptions right now. I feel like that's got to shoot up. Yes, he did have 5 catches in one playoff game, but he's had 6 and 9 in the other 2. Yeah. And as I said earlier, the matchup and just the duo and the tandem, just between Burrow and him, and the matchup that I'm projecting, Jalen Ramsey, they're going to be able to get them the ball behind the line of scrimmage and screen routes and get him the ball in space. Down the field, it's going to be difficult. So maybe not the yards, but the reception line at 5.5, I like it. I like it. Yeah,
that's sick. This is one of those, Connor, where we've said throughout the year, 6.5, that one's a little high. 5.5, I think is a sweet spot. I'm hitting this over here because 6 is not a lot of catches for him to get to.
No.
But so I'm going to take the more on Jamar Chase here. This is one I'd get on now.
Yeah,
this is not going down. It's not going down.
No, it's definitely going to go up. Everyone's going to be hitting that more, I feel. And I feel like we just, if you're not, listen to Joe and I, and we'll assure you that 5.5 is just that sweet spot, as Joe said, that we've been looking for this year on this show. And man, am I ready to see Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow link up in this Super Bowl and just hear the Cincinnati faithful go electric. They even had, last week, I was just following Twitter, they went with the full, what's his name? Ted Lasso. They went with the full Ted Lasso believe signs. How can you not love that? They've got Harambee on their side. They've got Ted Lasso on their side. They've got like America's Youth. They got freaking Mr. Freeze and Joe Burrow on their side. They're coming into LA. LA's at home. That would be a really cool story. Tampa Bay wins at home. Next year, LA wins at home. It'd make for the headlines. It'll probably never happen again where the host team wins back-to-back Super Bowls. But, man, the Bengals are coming. It's going to be a fun one.
The Bengals are actually the home team in this game, by the way.
Oh, well.
Technically. So the Bengals actually got to decide the uniform combo. Now, here's another thing. The Rams are actually getting to use their locker room, despite the fact that they're the away team. And it's only, my guess is only because this is a game in a stadium where they have 2 home locker rooms. Mm-hmm. Because the Bengals are the home team, but they can just use the Chargers locker room. So interesting enough that the Rams, even though they're a away team, don't even have to move locker rooms.
Yeah, they're going to be very comfortable there. It's going to be, man, this is going to be a show. Aaron Donald on one end. You got Von Miller back there with them. Plus, probably against, well, we saw what the Tennessee Titans did. The most sacks in an NFL playoff game ever, 9. These guys are going to be coming downhill. I think one thing that you said that I think should be noted, Aaron Donald, that's a cheeky MVP look. But as far as monkey knife fight goes, before we get out of here, how about a little touchdown dance? Who are your projected scores? Because I have to go for Cooper Kupp. It's just he is the target. Matthew Stafford found him for 2 touchdowns, and he was intercepted trying to find Cooper Kupp, trying to squeeze one into a tight window. So I think you have to lean to Cooper Kupp. You were mentioning Joe Mixon needs that touchdown to get those points. Plus, down around the goal line, they do turn to him. So I'll take Joe Mixon. And man, the next one's tough. The next one's a tough one, but I think OBJ is just such and he's just such an emphatic presence on the field. I think that would be my touchdown dance. The dual wide receivers from the Rams plus the running back from the Bengals.
Yeah, and also if you're looking for a longer shot one, keep an eye on what happens there with Tyler Higbee, because they drew up play at the goal line for Kendall Blanton, backup tight end. So there's a longer a little bit of a longer shot for you if you want to go with somebody who you're like, I'm not too sure about that. But yeah, I think Cooper Kupp's obvious. If you're playing touchdown dance, you got to get him in there. Like this is touchdown dance isn't one of those things where, I use Cooper Kupp, so I have to use 2 really cheap guys. No, it's like, who do I think has the best chance to score touchdown? I'm not trying to fill out a DFS lineup here. It's take the damn best players, and Cooper Kupp, should be an auto square for that one.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm completely with you on that. And then next week, folks, I'll be in Los Angeles. The producer and I, Jason, we're heading to the streets. Invite? I have no idea. I don't make the calls. Get on the line with the brass, baby. I'm heading down to LA. We're going to do some streeters. We're going to walk around the streets. Maybe I'll even do my show. I'll be talking to you from right outside SoFi. Who knows? We're going to get wild with this. Something that I want to note before we go, though. This is the closest that I or Detroit will ever be to a Super Bowl.
Hey.
Detroit, Eminem playing at halftime, Matthew Stafford playing quarterback, and I will finally get my shot to at least be in the city where the Super Bowl is as a Canadian kid. It's going to be cool.
Imagine telling Lions fans 3 years ago that in Super Bowl 56, a team that hadn't won a playoff game since 1991 will be playing in a Super Bowl, and Matthew Stafford will be the quarterback in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's actually even more heartbreaking than the stat. The way the delivery of what you said is just. I'm gonna have to take a note on that. And if I see any Stafford jerseys, I definitely will be asking that.
He's not the quarterback for the team that last one.
Yeah, well, it was obviously the Bengals. And how about one last goodbye to Mr. Tom Brady? He did it. He retired. A few at ESPN may have jumped the gun, but hey, they were right at the end of the day. And the greatest athlete, arguably, the greatest football player of all time, the greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady officially calls it a career. Joe, any final notes on Tom Brady's career?
I just feel like we always go down this road where we're like, man, he can still go. He should still be playing. Or, man, he should have hung it up a while ago. And I think we've reached both of those points with this year with Ben Roethlisberger and Tom Brady. Ben Roethlisberger should have retired after last year. Tom Brady, if he wanted to play next year, I don't think anybody's criticizing him. But the fact of the matter is Tom Brady doesn't have anything left to prove.
Yeah.
Tom Brady won his 7th Super Bowl last year. He played at a high level this year. I think he threw for the most yards of his career this year. Aside from the fact that he just has this insatiable drive to keep going, and he might still have that, he might have had to suppress that. How can you blame him? I'm kind of sad about it. I don't really know what to do with myself. Even though my love for Brady is much more of a respect as opposed to the joy of watching someone play. You have a joy of watching like Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen play. Brady was much more of he's much more of a piece of like a cinema, like a piece of film. While Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are much more explosively entertaining in the way that like Jackass probably is. And this is that I know I'm throwing that out there because, you know, Jackass is out there. I might have to go by myself to watch it, by the way.
I'll come. I'll make a stop at. I'll come down. We'll catch a Swamp Rabbits hockey game on my way home, and then we'll go see Jackass together. Okay,
yeah,
that'll be my compromise.
That. My wife does not want to go with me to see Jackass, but no, like Tom Brady is like more of like, I don't know. I saw that movie Children of Men, and it's not really a movie that I have a lot of interest in seeing for a second time, but it was pretty freaking impactful when I watched it. But you could watch Jackass like 30 times. You know, it's like one of those. Like,
I think Tom Brady provides, though, that comeback. He almost did it again, even this year. But I think there is one performance where the chips are on. It's like Lord of the Rings. The chips are on the table. They're going to lose. How did they win? What's going on, Aragon? Frodo throws the ring into the fire. Tom Brady makes a play. Somehow the Pats came back and beat Atlanta. You know, that it's just there are storylines in there.
That game was
can't say that they can't say that any of Tom Brady's career is unrewatchable because the
guys. It was an overwrought analogy. Like that, like there's certainly things that are rewatchable about Brady, but like, you know, I don't think when you talk about one of your favorite players to watch, I mean, unless you're a Patriots fan or like a serious like quarterback snob, I don't know if Brady will come up as one of your favorite players to watch, right?
I agree with that. I will agree with that.
Just because the aesthetics of his game are so precise as opposed to like explosive. But I mean, he delivered a ton of memories. I mean, the guy played in 10 Super Bowls. 10. I mean, Dan Marino played in 1. Drew Brees played in 1. Aaron Rodgers has played in 1. I mean, it's absurd. It's unheard of. Yeah. Never see it again.
No, the greatest quarterback of all time, folks. That's Joe Dolan of Fantasy Points. I'm Connor Rowntree from here on Monkey Knife Fight. We'll see you on the streets of Los Angeles for a little Super Bowl preview. And Joe, we'll see you next week.
See you, Connor.
It'll be fun. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to Monkey Knife Fight's preview show of the Super Bowl. The early lookout for Super Bowl in LA. It's going to be the Rams and the Bengals. Folks, remember to hit it hard.